The clock reads 6:12 p.m. Your yard sits under fading summer light. The feeder hangs quiet. The lawn holds its last patches of gold. Then, three birds appear on the fence. A minute later, two more arrive from the east. Neither group touches the feeder. A house sparrow lands near the garden bed. A second follows from a nearby hedge. Within 10 minutes, the number grows from 3 birds to 12. Nothing seems unusual. Until you notice they are not eating. They are waiting. Most people assume birds gather only when food is present. The scene feels familiar enough to ignore. Yet many backyard birds begin forming groups 20 to 45 minutes before sunset. They do this even when no seeds, insects, or fruit are available. Your yard may host these arrivals several evenings each week. You simply never had a reason to notice. A small call comes from a maple branch. Another bird answers from 15 meters away. 2 birds leave. 4 more arrive. The pattern continues. What looks like a loose crowd starts behaving like something else. The arrivals follow a sequence. The calls appear timed. The departures seem expected. A gathering forms before your eyes. Not for feeding, not for nesting. For something that happens nearly every evening across countless backyards. And once you recognize the pattern, the final hour of daylight never looks quite the same again. The birds on your fence do not look organized. They arrive from different directions. They perch at different heights. Some stay for 30 seconds. Others remain for several minutes. From a distance, the gathering appears random. It is not. Many species return to specific locations at nearly the same time each evening. A hedge, a fence line, or a maple tree can become a regular meeting point. During these brief gatherings, birds assess safety, monitor local conditions, and respond to calls from nearby individuals. Some meetings last only 3 minutes. Others help determine where 20, 30, or even 50 birds spend the entire night. What seems like a simple cluster often serves a larger purpose. Before this story ends, you will discover how these quiet evening assemblies connect your yard to a much wider network of movement, communication, and shared decisions stretching far beyond your neighborhood. Most people assume robins finish feeding and head straight to sleep. The day ends. The bird disappears. The story seems simple. It is not. American robins often gather before nightfall in groups of 20 to 200 birds. These assemblies can form 20 minutes before sunset and continue growing as more birds arrive. A single robin lands in a tree. Then another appears. Then 5 more arrive from different directions. The numbers build gradually. Researchers have observed robins using these pre-roost gatherings before traveling to communal sleeping sites. Those roosts may contain hundreds or even thousands of birds during parts of the year. The gathering itself is an important stage. Your robin may not be searching for food at all. If you see one moving slowly across your yard at dusk, it may already know where dinner ended hours earlier. It may be waiting. A bird pauses on your fence. Another settles into a nearby maple. Several remain unusually still. The behavior feels different from daytime feeding. That is because the goal has changed. The group is preparing to move. As the light fades, robins monitor one another through calls, movement, and presence. Individuals that spent the day scattered across lawns and gardens begin coming together in one location. One bird becomes several. Several become dozens. The gathering reaches a critical size. Then something unexpected happens. The entire group leaves. Not one at a time, together. A wave of birds lifts from the trees and crosses the evening sky. The destination may lie 500 meters away. It may lie several kilometers away. For a few minutes, your yard functions as a staging area. The birds are not ending their day there. They are coordinating the next step. The deeper story becomes visible only when you watch multiple evenings in a row. The same tree may host the same pattern. The same arrivals occur. The same pause follows. Then, the same departure unfolds. What looked like a random collection of robins reveals itself as a temporary conference before night. And robins are far from the only birds holding these evening gatherings. Most people assume chickadees travel beside other birds by coincidence. A few species happen to reach the same feeder at once. That explanation feels obvious. It is incomplete. During winter, mixed species flocks often contain 5 to 15 birds moving together as a coordinated group. Black-capped chickadees commonly travel alongside white-breasted nuthatches, downy woodpeckers, tufted titmice, and other small birds. These flocks can remain connected for hours. The birds do not simply meet at a feeder. They travel together through woodlots, yards, and neighborhood trees. A chickadee lands first. A nuthatch follows. A woodpecker appears moments later. The movement looks casual. It is not. Each species gains advantages from staying connected. More eyes increase the chance of detecting danger. More individuals improve the search for food. The flock becomes more effective than any single bird. Your yard may be only one stop along a larger route. The chickadees visiting your feeder could have traveled with the same companions through dozens of trees before arriving. When the flock leaves, those companions often leave together. The relationship extends beyond feeding. Chickadees frequently serve as information centers within these groups. Their calls contain details about potential threats. Nearby birds pay close attention. A sharp warning call from one chickadee can change the behavior of several species within seconds. Nuthatches freeze. Titmice retreat into cover. Woodpeckers become cautious. Information spreads rapidly through the flock. The birds do not need to see the danger themselves. They respond to trusted signals. This creates a shared safety network across multiple species. Each bird contributes observations. Each bird benefits from the observations of others. The result resembles a neighborhood watch more than a collection of independent animals. The deeper implication appears during quiet winter afternoons. A chickadee may weigh only 10 to 12 grams, yet its decisions can influence the movements of birds several times its size. One call changes where the flock feeds. One alarm changes where the flock hides. One movement changes where the flock travels next. What appears to be a handful of birds scattered through your yard is often a connected social unit exchanging information constantly. And as evening approaches, some species take cooperation even further, gathering in numbers far larger than a winter flock. Most people assume large groups of crows gather because food attracts them. A pile of scraps appears. The birds arrive. The explanation seems complete. It is not. American crows often assemble in enormous evening gatherings before nightfall. Winter roosts can contain hundreds, thousands, and sometimes tens of thousands of individuals in a single location. The gathering begins long before darkness arrives. Small groups appear first. Then more crows arrive from different directions. The numbers continue growing. Trees that looked empty an hour earlier become crowded with black silhouettes. The process follows a pattern. Birds gather, they call, they shift positions, then they move toward larger communal roosts. Your yard may be part of this sequence. A single crow perched on your fence may not spend the night anywhere nearby. That bird could later travel several kilometers to join hundreds of others before darkness settles across the landscape. The journey often starts with observations made much earlier in the evening. Researchers studying crow behavior believe these assemblies provide important social benefits. Younger birds gain opportunities to observe experienced individuals. Information about feeding locations and potential dangers may spread through repeated interactions. The gathering becomes more than a sleeping arrangement. It becomes a place where experience accumulates. A young crow that survived only one winter faces different challenges than a bird that survived 5. The older bird has encountered predators, storms, and scarce food before. The younger bird benefits from remaining connected to that larger community. The practical value becomes clearer when conditions turn difficult. A food source discovered by one group may eventually influence the movements of many others. A dangerous area may become known through repeated social contact. Information has value. especially during winter. To human ears, the gathering often sounds chaotic. Dozens of calls overlap. The volume increases. The noise carries across neighborhoods. Yet beneath the sound lies structure. Birds arrive in waves. Groups merge with other groups. Temporary gathering points feed into larger gathering points. The entire process unfolds with surprising consistency. What appears to be a noisy crowd often serves a practical purpose. The crow calling from your yard is participating in something much larger than a simple search for food. And not every evening gathering depends on large numbers to achieve its goal. Some meetings succeed with only a handful of birds and a few carefully timed calls. Most people assume birds face predators alone. A hawk appears, each bird protects itself, the rest scatter. That seems logical. It is often wrong. Small songbirds frequently recruit allies when predators appear. A single hawk or owl can trigger a response involving 10 to 30 birds within minutes. The event is known as mobbing. It begins with a call. A black-capped chickadee spots a predator. A tufted titmouse notices movement. A warning spreads through the area. The response grows quickly. Birds that were feeding separately suddenly move toward the same location. They gather around the threat. They call repeatedly. Some approach within a few meters. The goal is not to attack. The goal is to make the predator visible. A hidden owl becomes easier to monitor when many birds know its location. A hunting hawk loses part of its advantage when every nearby bird is alerted. Your yard may host these events without warning. One moment feels completely normal. The next moment, the air fills with sharp calls from every direction. Birds rush into shrubs. Others perch above the predator. The sudden noise sounds like panic. It often represents coordination. Different species frequently join the same mobbing event. Chickadees participate. Nuthatches participate. Wrens, titmice, and woodpeckers may join as well. Many of these birds compete for food during ordinary days. When danger appears, competition becomes less important. A temporary alliance forms. Information moves rapidly through calls and behavior. One bird detects the threat. Several birds respond. Then dozens know about it. The network expands far faster than any single bird could manage alone. Researchers have observed mobbing events lasting several minutes. During that time, birds continuously exchange information about the predator's location and movements. The gathering serves a practical purpose. Every participant gains knowledge. Every participant gains protection. The deeper lesson is easy to miss. Birds do not wait for danger to solve problems together. They already possess communication systems capable of organizing group action within moments. What sounds like chaos often contains structure. What sounds like fear often contains information. And once the predator leaves, another kind of gathering begins. One that depends not on danger, but on trust between familiar individuals. Most people assume dawn bird sounds exist only for territory and mating. The sun rises, the songs begin. The purpose seems obvious. It is only part of the story. Many bird species exchange short contact calls 5 to 20 minutes before sunrise. These sounds often occur before full singing begins and before most visible movement starts. The calls are brief, a single note, a short chip, a quick response from another location. The exchange may last less than 1 second, yet it carries meaning. Researchers have observed species such as northern cardinals, Carolina wrens, and black-capped chickadees producing early morning contact calls before major daily activity begins. The birds are not necessarily defending territory. They are establishing awareness. One bird announces its presence, another answers. Locations become known. The day begins taking shape. Your yard may host these conversations every morning. You hear a call from the hedge. A reply comes from a nearby tree. Another sound arrives from the fence line. The exchange happens before the first strong sunlight reaches the ground. Most people notice the later songs. The earlier communication often passes unnoticed. The deeper reason becomes clear when you consider the previous night. A small songbird may spend 10 to 12 hours without feeding. Temperatures drop. Predators remain active. Darkness limits movement. Morning brings uncertainty. Before birds begin traveling, feeding, or defending space, they need information. Who survived the night? Who remains nearby? Where familiar neighbors are located? The first calls help answer those questions. Information arrives before action. That sequence appears again and again throughout bird behavior. Robins gather before traveling. Chickadees exchange information before moving. Crows assemble before roosting. Mobbing birds communicate before responding. The pattern repeats. Communication first, movement second. What sounds like a few scattered notes in the darkness may actually represent the opening moments of a coordinated day. The calls create connections across yards, trees, and neighborhood spaces. Birds that have not seen one another for hours begin rebuilding awareness through sound. The day starts with a network coming back online. And when you step back far enough, these daily meetings reveal something much larger than any single yard, flock, or neighborhood gathering. It is easy to assume every gathering in your yard is a separate event. A few birds meet near a hedge. Another group appears across town. The moments seem unrelated. They are not. The robin conference, the chickadee flock, the crow assembly, and the dawn check in all follow the same principle. Information moves through connections. At the scale of your yard, the pattern appears small. 10 birds gather near a feeder. 12 birds settle into a hedge. A handful of calls pass between branches separated by 20 meters. The scene feels local, yet every bird carries information beyond that space. A robin leaves your yard and joins others nearby. A chickadee flock crosses several properties during a single afternoon. A crow travels kilometers before reaching its evening roost. The network expands. At the regional scale, thousands of birds move between feeding areas, nesting sites, and roosting locations. Some daily movements cover 10 kilometers. Others approach 100 kilometers. No single gathering stands alone. Each connects to another. Information discovered in one place influences decisions somewhere else. A feeding opportunity attracts newcomers. A predator triggers warning calls. A safe roost draws additional birds. The effects spread through movement and observation. Then the scale grows larger still. Across a continent, billions of birds participate in migration, breeding, feeding, and survival. Seasonal journeys can span hundreds or thousands of kilometers. Individual decisions accumulate into vast patterns visible from satellites and weather radar. Yet the foundation remains surprisingly small. One call, one response, one gathering. No central leader directs the process. No bird oversees the network. No committee controls the flow of information. The system emerges from countless local interactions repeated every day. A bird watches another bird. A call reaches a nearby flock. A group changes direction. Another group follows. Simple actions combine into something enormous. The meeting on your fence becomes part of a neighborhood pattern. That neighborhood pattern becomes part of a regional one. The regional pattern becomes part of a continental system stretching across forests, grasslands, suburbs, wetlands, and cities. All of it depends on communication. All of it depends on birds sharing information through calls, movement, and observation. The most surprising part is where this immense system becomes visible. Not in a remote wilderness, not on an isolated mountain, but in the ordinary patch of sky above your yard, where a few evening birds gather before continuing their place in one of the largest communication systems on Earth. Your yard may look the same tomorrow evening. The feeder will still hang in place. The fence will still mark the edge of the lawn. The familiar trees will stand where they always have. Yet something has changed. What once looked like random bird activity now carries purpose. The robin waiting at dusk, the chickadee calling from a branch, and the crow passing overhead may all be participating in gatherings built around information, safety, and coordination. The tree, hedge, or feeder in your yard may be more than a stopping point. It may be a meeting place. Tell me in the comments, what is the largest bird gathering you have ever seen in your yard, and what do you think brought them together?